What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Jake Podger. I'm here tonight hosting the AFC East Summit show. Chris makes an appearance. He is finally back, baby. We are fired up to have him. It's going to be a great show tonight. Talking NFL schedule release, obviously some NFL news, and then we're going to be predicting. Heck yeah, Chris. We're going to be predicting the most impactful rookies of year one. So more to come right after this. What's up, everybody? Excited for tonight's show. My name is Jake Podger. As I mentioned, I am the host of the AFC East Summit show. Joined today by Anthony, Chris, and Keith. And fellas, we got the gang back together here. So I'm starting with Chris. Chris, talk to us, brother. How we feeling about those New England Patriots? I know you're probably just eagerly awaiting some type of news about the schedule. The three of us actually did have some leaks so far. We know that Anthony's going to be playing a Monday night game, and Keith and I, our Dolphins and Bills, going to be the first Thursday night Amazon Prime feature of the season. So, Chris, you excited for this week? Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, I believe, is when it officially drops.
I'm super excited. I think I'm more so excited, not even the schedule, but just to get back to football. So, I think that's the thing I love the most because it's always such a dreadful time of year when we don't.
I feel that. I definitely feel that. Yeah, Chris, it looks like you got a little bit of an audio delay. I don't know why. It was totally fine pre-show. And then, of course, when we go live, it becomes more of a delay. So I'll just I'll make sure I pause in between when I'm talking to you a little bit more. But thank you for joining us, man. Fired up to have you. Keith, how we feeling tonight, brother? How those Phillies doing, by the way?
They won 4-0 today to beat the Mets.
Nice.
Aaron Nola complete game shutout. It was beautiful. I'm feeling good. I'm excited for the schedule release. Bills Dolphins week 2. I know we're going to get into that a little bit. This is Jupiter, new member of the family.
I love it.
He wants to say hi to everybody. But Bills Dolphins week 2. We're gonna get into that, and man, I wonder when the second matchup is going to be because that's going to be in Buffalo. I'm wondering if that's going to be like another January matchup. That's not going to be fun, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, listen, we don't want to jinx it or anything, but I think it's safe to say we won't be encountering 113-degree weather at the very least, right? So.
Not at night.
Just keeping our fingers crossed. I mean, I know it can get a little humid out there, and at nighttime, even so, it is still warm there in Florida, and it's still early on in the year.
Yes.
September 15th, I believe it is. So, or September 12th, September 15th, one of those days. So yeah. Well, hopefully, we won't have any issues. No IVs or anything like that. No players laying on the sidelines or on the field. So just keeping our fingers crossed there.
I don't want there to be any excuses, Jake. No more excuses.
Amen.
I mean, last time. The Bills had a little bit of a beef with the weather in that game, and rightfully so. It was stiflingly hot out there. But this time it's at night, no sun. Maybe there's going to be IVs, but there isn't going to be guys collapsing on the field and throwing up on the field and stuff like that. There shouldn't be, at least.
Yes, agreed.
To me, that's a disappointment because, you always hear we're an all-weather team. We play in all the elements, and we don't want dome because we want you guys want to build your stadium outdoors because you know that the weather is going to be absolutely horrendous.
True.
When it comes playoff time, but here you guys are getting a little bit soft when it comes to playing in I don't want to hear it.
You're right. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. Yeah, honestly, Ant, my preferred weather, anything over 80. Forget about it. I don't like it at all. I do not thrive in warm weather whatsoever. You give me 60 and cloudy every day of the week, I'm happy. I am, I'll take a 70-degree day every once in a while, but I'm not.
You know what, Jake? Drop that down 10 degrees, and I'm right there with you.
There we go, Keith. Shorts weather, baby.
Yes, sir.
50 degrees and up.
Absolutely.
Yes. Beautiful. Anth, I know you were expressing some excitement. Obviously, end of the school year coming up here, so you got to be pretty happy. It looks like the gun show is on today too.
Oh yeah, no, there was
love
a lot of talking crap in the Discord, so I thought I'd bring the guns out today. You know,
Yes.
but I
awesome.
might need the backup. Yeah, no, I'm super excited. We got 3 weeks left in my school district. I got a friend of mine who works out in Evanston, and they're out like at the end of next week. So I'm like super jealous of him. And even more than that, like the moment that we go on break, I'm flying to Germany. My wife works for a German company, so she's already going to be out there. So I'm going to fly over to Germany like as soon as school ends and spend a few days in Frankfurt. And then later on this summer, I've got a trip to Minneapolis. There's a music festival up there I'm going to. And then end of the summer, I'll fly out to Ecuador to go meet my baby niece who was just born. So,
oh, congrats, man! That's awesome. Wow,
I cannot wait for the summer, man. It's driving.
You got
me
your
crazy.
hands full. Yeah,
Yeah.
You gotta love it. Awesome. Well, listen, let's get into some NFL news real quick before we talk about the schedule release and some of the other things we're going to be talking about tonight. Looks like Chris just dropped off. Hopefully, he'll be joining us back. Little sketchy on the connection, I think, on his end still. So he's going to try to figure it out. He said he's getting a new laptop. This is the last week with this current one. So, still working through the kinks. Absolutely love it, though, Chris. Battling through a little bit of adversity, brother. But I want to start with some AFC East signing news. The Buffalo Bills have signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And we are now in competition with maybe nobody for the top tier wide receiver 4s on a roster. So listen, I think a lot of people at first were not super thrilled with the signing. It's growing on me a little bit just because it is an incentive-based contract, and it's not like we're going to be, we're not giving him the house right off the bat. He's got to earn it, right? So if he does produce, great. We're going to have to pay him a little bit. And I think it is worth up to $4.5 million. There was like a $1.125 million signing bonus involved there. But for the most part, it is all incentive based. So I am happy to at least see that. But it's interesting. Maybe it makes you feel a little concerned if you're a Bills fan, because we just had rookie minicamp and we got our first look at Keon Coleman. So what is that telling us? Are we just signing MVS as a depth piece, or are we signing him because we are a little nervous about our wide receiver room right now? So kind of a crazy desperation move if you ask me. But I could definitely say this. MVS, man, he's got a streak of playing with maybe some of the best quarterbacks in the last decade that have played in the NFL. I mean, you're talking Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, and now Josh Allen. So for him, that's a hell of a streak at least. And if Josh can make him better, hopefully that's the case. We shall see. But I want to talk to you guys about this. Anthony, I know you are smiling ear to ear over there. Talk to me about this move and what your thoughts are.
I mean, listen, like, all right. So, like, he's the exact same receiver you've signed 3 times already.
Right.
How many of these guys do you need? You're cornering the market, like you said, on wide receiver force. It's impressive. I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but like, I also, you're the only team that offered him this contract. There couldn't have been another team in the NFL willing to give him like up to $4 million for a year. Like, that tells you, to me, that gives me a general sense of like his value to the league. Like, I think Hollywood Brown got more than this.
Yeah, he did. He got 7. Yeah.
Yeah. So like Odell Beckham Jr. as like wide receiver 3 got more than this, like $8 million.
Right.
So like, I don't know. Like, it seems to me like he's another option for you guys to run clear out routes, because functionally you guys are going to be doing everything underneath, because everybody that seems like that might eat anywhere near 100 targets catches the ball within 10 yards. Yeah. It's your Curtis Samuels. It's your Dalton Kincaids, your Dawson Knoxes, even your Keon Coleman's. People are talking about him as like a big power slot. It's just another option to, like, you run fast that way to make us respect the deep ball somehow. Like, that's That's what this seems like. The offense is starting to look like. And, it worked for you at the end of last season. I'll admit it. It did work for you. You guys got hot towards the end of the season. You ran the ball down people's throats. My question is that going to work when people have an offseason, a game plan for that?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. And I will say this. I do think Joe Brady was still using a primarily put together Ken Dorsey playbook, and he was making adjustments where he could, because it's hard to just change a whole playbook mid-season. So, maybe we got to give him some credit too. He hasn't had a full season to kind of prove himself as the OC.
Sure,
I like Joe Brady. I think he's young, he's innovative.
The Cowboys game, right? The Cowboys game, you guys ran the ball 39 times. That's not including, there's no way Ken Dorsey ever does that. And you won that game. You absolutely blew the doors off of them.
Mm-hmm.
But, that was you guys running the ball down teams' throats. And most of the second half of the season, it was very, very conservative offensively.
Yes.
So.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Now, I will say there is something worth noting with MVS. And actually, I know Sean's favorite guy, Eric Turner from Cover One, did make a very good point here. So MVS man versus zone splits in 2022 to 2023. This is including the playoffs. His EPA per target man was 0.38, zone 0.09. So he's saying the Bills faced the most man coverage last season, which is true. And Bean has been trying to combat that like he did early on in his tenure. So maybe there is a reason. Maybe that's part of the reason also why he signed him. So, the guy, listen, when you look at him on paper, 6'4", 206, runs 4.37, that's very appealing, right? But at the end of the day, he's a 50-50 receiver, and he's coming off maybe his worst season as a pro after signing a really good contract with the Chiefs, So it is a little discouraging, but I look at it as like a more of a low-risk, high-reward type thing. Keeping my fingers crossed, obviously. And it's going to be a really interesting battle between him, Mac Hollins, Quintez Cephas, and Chase Claypool. And don't forget Justin Shorter. So
burn burner that one.
Stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned. I want to go to the chat here real quick. Keith, I'll let you talk in a second, but I want to pull up a few things. Dad, good to see you out there. Coleman looks good so far. He did look pretty good. Now, his route running definitely needs a little bit of work, and I think that was one of the big knocks on him. Obviously, as a route runner, might not be the best in the class. Definitely not the best in the class, but glue hands, right? Good catch radius. But again, it's interesting. We've signed 4 guys now that have pretty good catch radiuses. So I don't know if you read into that at all, but definitely interesting to say the least. Sean saying no rookies will have an impact this year. I love it. Sean, your positivity, brother. And I know you're just joking around. Sean loves the Bills. Listen, I think he tries to almost do like reverse psychology. He does call BS when he sees it. And I love that and I respect that about Sean. But I will say he's definitely not as uppity about this team as I am. And for good reason. Listen, they haven't really given him a reason to do so because they haven't advanced past, the checkpoint over the last 2 years. So I get it. Totally get it. Looking forward to a 5-12 Pats season. Absolutely love it. Time for UFO football. Yes, all 4 of us. Yeah, and Chris has now dropped off. So I don't know, man. I hope he's joining us back. He has not gotten back into the green room, so that is unfortunate. Sean saying, whoa, beat the shit out of the Mets. Congrats.
Hey, you know what, Sean and I, Sean's a Nationals fan. We have a little bit of a friendly competition going back and forth on that. And his argument is that the Phillies haven't played anybody yet, and he's not wrong in that argument, but you can only beat who you play. And the fact of the matter is, Colorado comes to visit, you take 3 against Colorado and you move on. Chicago comes to visit, the White Sox, you take 3 against Chicago and you move on. I'd be more concerned. Phillies teams of the past, and I know this is a football show, but Phillies teams of the past few years have started off so slow that maybe Colorado comes in and takes 2 or 3 against them. And maybe Chicago comes in and, maybe the Phillies take 2 or 3 against them. They don't normally get going until June. Right now, they've kind of hit the ground running, which has me excited. So, Sean, you can keep on talking. The beauty of baseball is that the cream always rises to the top, and we'll see who makes the playoffs at the end of the season here.
That's right. Give me an update on that Nats record too, Sean. I'm curious about that. I really haven't been following much baseball. I love baseball. I think it's great, but I don't really, admittedly, I don't get into it as much as I should be. Says hi, Jupiter. Great to see Jupiter out there.
Yeah.
How old is Jupiter, Keith? How old?
He's 4.5 months.
Wow, young buck.
Yeah. He's a young guy. He's a little crazy.
Yeah. It will be no sun on Thursday night. Amen, Sean. Amen. Jupiter saying hi with the wrong end. Good to see you out there, Roy. Always a pleasure, sir. Hilarious. Yes. Yep, Roy. Good to see you. Your best friend Sean is in the chat. Well, when one team sideline is 40 degrees cooler, that's different. Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, it is a severe disadvantage in that sense, right?
But again,
when
that's a home field advantage right there,
Yeah, just like us, right? With the
don't think that happened on accident, Sean.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, time for UFL football. Yeah, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, MVS is now a Buffalo Bill. Let's see. Don't worry about our wide receiver, Mad Chatter. They stink. He's not a huge fan. He says, why would we be worried about our elite wide receiver room? And he's been trash. MVS couldn't get it done with Rodgers or Mahomes. Nothing changes with Josh. That's fair. That's fair. Now, I will say this. To his credit, while he did drop a lot of passes this year, he made some of the most important catches throughout this playoff run that the Chiefs just had, right? So he had essentially the game-clinching catch against us in the playoffs in the divisional round. Then he has the game-clinching catch against the Ravens, and then he catches a big touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. So at least when it matters, he's catching the football, and that is something that the Bills haven't been able to do, right? So listen, guys, you know me, I'm Optimus Prime, and I might be grasping at sticks, but I'm going to do it until I die, baby. That's just how we do it here in Buffalo.
It does sound a little bit like Shaq logic, like I make them when they count.
Remember Shaq? It's true. Yeah. Yep. Here we go, Mike. Yeah, Mike backing me up on this. If you throw enough darts, you'll hit the bullseye eventually. Absolutely. Mike or Sean says, not when you're blind, Mike. My dad says, good one, Mike. Sean saying, can't wait to get some wings. Joe Brady runs an offense like it's 1990. We're going to have the most balanced ball distribution of any team this year. Don't sleep on this new approach. Yeah, I mean, it worked. Here's the thing. Our running game was not as good when we had Cole Beasley, but when we had an elite underneath target like that, I mean, you couldn't really stop us. And I'll say this, like, you go back to even 2019 when Josh really kind of came out as, like, the guy, right? We had John Brown as our leading receiver that year. He was a 1,000-yard guy. And, yeah, he could stretch the field a little bit, but we didn't have any sexy names or anything like that. So maybe we're trying to revert back to that. Maybe he doesn't. And I'll say this. I do think Steph was instrumental in some of Josh's success, of course. He made him better. Steph was made better by Josh, too. But maybe we need to go back to that, like, whoever catches, maybe one game, Dalton Kincaid catches 8 passes. The next game, Curtis Samuel catches 8. Spread the ball around. Anthony said in the Discord even, he's like, you guys might not even have a 600 or 700-yard receiver this year. You might have 5 guys that catch 50 passes for 600 yards. And if it works, it works. So be it, right?
Yeah.
So
I was actually thinking about it. I had a weird conversation with a friend of mine. We were talking, like, because remember draft day, how odd it was that the Bills first traded back with the Chiefs and then traded back from the Chiefs back to the second round. And it almost felt like they got caught off guard. And I was wondering, like, who would they have gotten caught off guard with? And a friend of mine said, Ricky Pearsall. And I thought about Ricky Pearsall because I watched so much of his tape. And his game does kind of remind me of Steph Diggs.
Yeah.
Like, he's that, like, sort of awkward separator that's got really good hands, makes really good plays away from his, like, balls out, catches the ball really well outside of his body. And, like, I kind of wonder if you guys were going to go in that direction.
I wonder. Yeah.
And then you got caught off for that and wound up taking Keon Coleman, again, like a good hands guy, but maybe not nearly the separator that Pearsall would. What would you how would you think about that? Like, if you'd replaced Keon with Ricky Pearsall? Because I think that would have been a really good fit for what Josh does.
Definitely. Yeah. I think at first a lot of people would have been up in arms. It would have been probably a similar reaction to the Keon Coleman one that we all had. Because most mock drafts that we saw out there had Ricky Pearsall going in the second or third, right? So it's like, you look at that and immediately you're like, wow, we really reached for this pick. But you see the Niners go ahead and take him, and he's going to be a good fit in that offense too, I think. But for us, it probably would have been a good fit, and he can really do it all. He works really well in space too, like.
Yep.
And he's an outside guy. I think he's an outside guy too. Like he is mainly going to be an outside guy. Like
correct.
A lot of people think, oh, he's going to be just a slot receiver, your typical slot guy going across the middle, catching 80 for 600, right?
Let's call him what the people were considering. They were just looking at the skin color. He's typical white slot, like hard worker. First one in, last one out. Yep. He's all grit, and that's not really his game, but I really think he would have been a great fit in Buffalo.
Absolutely. I think
he's a lunch pail kind of guy.
Definitely a lunch pail guy.
So wait, the 49ers, they drafted Ricky Pearsall and Lab McConkey. Do I have that right?
No.
Chargers took Lab McConkey.
The Chargers, yeah.
Okay, all right. Yep. All right, my bad.
That would have been something, though. Could you imagine? Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because McConkey was a receiver that I really liked coming out, and if the Bills would have taken him in the first round, I wouldn't have had issues with that. Keon Coleman, didn't love the pick. Yeah, I mean, I've gone on record of saying that. But McConkey, Anthony's theory about Ricky Pearsall kind of that's interesting because that might have been exactly what happened if those were just kind of thrown for a loop.
I agree. I mean, I could definitely see it. There's no doubt. Yeah. I guess we'll see, guys. I guess we'll see. I do want to move on to the schedule talk. Were there any other signings, by the way? I don't think there were.
No,
not really.
No.
Yeah. I don't think anything else really happened. But obviously, the big talk of the week has been the NFL schedule release, which will be officially dropping tomorrow. But we do have some games that were already leaked and confirmed. So, to start things off, guys, we have the Baltimore Ravens and Kansas City Chiefs. Week 1, the first game of the NFL season. That will be on NBC, and we'll have Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico commentating for that one, so that'll be fun. Obviously, that's an exciting matchup. We got 2 absolute blue chips right here, so you love to see it. Give me your take on this, guys. You think they got it right here?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is, I think they got it more right than the Lions game last year, and the Lions game turned out to be a really good one. This is a marquee matchup. This very well could have been the AFC Championship game. Love the.
No, it was the AFC Championship game, right?
Was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There you go. I love the matchup. I absolutely love it.
Love it.
Yeah. Big Al saying he doesn't like Collinsworth. I actually like Chris Collinsworth for some reason. I'm
in the silent majority on that too. I actually do too. I don't listen. I get why people are annoyed with him, but yeah, I'm with you, Keith.
Yeah, I think he's probably outside of maybe Aikman, the best color analyst out there. Yeah. I think he's better than Romo.
I love that. Anthony with a puzzled look on his face. He is not about that thing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Greg Olsen is the best.
I love Greg Olsen. He's got a lot of charisma. Yeah.
Hands down, Greg Olsen is my favorite color analyst to watch. After him, I don't know, Romo, I feel, has turned heel.
Yeah.
Like, Romo started off as being like the aw shucks, let me just give this little piece of sage advice that I picked up in the league. And then he just sort of like ate up his own hype. And it feels like he's going to the point where it's like he's outwardly projecting his feelings about the game and not necessarily about like analyzing it anymore.
I miss the Romo that would literally call the plays before they
right? Like that was the fun Romo that like everybody was like taken aback for, like in his first year or two, that like everybody was like, this guy is like it. And then like, I mean, it's just like he sniffed his farts too much. I really liked what I saw last year from Matt Ryan. I thought Matt Ryan was pretty good. But I'll plant my flag and say I like Greg Olsen. Collinsworth is fine, but like he's ever since he bought PFF, he bought PFF, and so he pimps it out on every broadcast. but like he also talks about it like he doesn't understand it too.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of awkward. So like I would like to see more alternative directions for these guys. Like I would love, if we're gonna do PFF, I would love PFF Sam Monson to call games.
Ooh, okay.
I think that would be like absolutely hilarious.
That would be.
I would like to have the PFF guys call games. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And then I'm looking forward to Belichick. I think Belichick is going to be on the Manning cast coming forward. He's going to be one of the regular guests there. I think that'd be, again, absolutely phenomenal. And if I'm not mistaken, Brady's going to be doing some games this year.
He's doing Cowboys Browns week 1, I believe, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
He's the I believe he is the Fox A team now, and Greg Olson actually was demoted to the B team. So now it's Burkhardt and Brady, and I don't know who Olson's paired with, which is insane because I thought Greg Olson was what Jason Witten should have been, right? Like Greg Olson has been the guy, and he's been incredible. Called the Super Bowl his first year.
Great charisma, great personality.
Yep. Yeah, never forget. What was his rap group? I forget. At Miami, it was him and a bunch of the U players. You have to Google it. It's on YouTube somewhere.
Have to Google that. Yes,
incredible. I'll send it in the Discord later. It's a little inappropriate probably for the show, but hey, you gotta love it. A lot of charisma, like I said. Incredible human being. I love Greg Olson, man. He's a stud. I'm with you. I think the Ravens are going to win this game, guys, and not just because I'm salty with the Chiefs. I just have a feeling.
I just think their roster is better built. I think that the Chiefs got through last year and maybe didn't have the best team. And they're a year older, and we have no idea what's going to happen with Rashee Rice. And you can't tell me that you're going to replace him with Xavier Worthy when you also brought in a couple of other receivers like Hollywood Brown and such. That's. I mean, we're not doing fantasy tonight, but that's going to be one of my fantasy fades. I think is Xavier Worthy. I think he's going to go a lot higher than his production is going to merit in this particular environment in fantasy this year. I think there's a lot of good rookie receivers.
Well, since you brought it up, Anthony, I've been avoiding Chiefs wide receivers since I don't know, since Juju Smith-Schuster left. I just
thought you were gonna say Dwayne Bowe.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, I could have, Tyreek Hill, back when he was with the Chiefs, he was a guy I always wanted. But he was always a guy who was drafted too high for when I would take him.
Okay.
But as far as Chiefs wide receivers go, Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Rashee Rice, none of these guys are guys I want on my team necessarily, unless they're my fourth or fifth wide receiver. And I'm only playing them in case they pop off or in case there's injuries to my starters. This is not a team in general that you want guys on your fantasy team, including Patrick Mahomes, who's going to be overdrafted.
And Travis Kelce, who's always overdrafted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So, little fantasy analysis for you guys out there.
I love it. We'll be doing some more of that. Trust me.
Yeah.
And we will talk a little bit about the stats for rookies coming up. You'll see as we move on in the show here. Brady not legally liable if his friends roast his wife publicly. Yeah, that's true. He did come out and post a happy Mother's Day to Giselle and his mom and some other, all the moms in his life, I guess. So that was nice.
They have a few kids though. They have 3, I think, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Yeah, my dad, Mike, going on another trip to Greece. Just booked it today. Going on another
trip.
Sick. Man, that's awesome.
Fantastic. He's going to Italy and Greece. Where's he going?
I don't know. He just, it's a great question. Trey, MVS has never recorded a drop in the playoffs on 38 targets. I don't project that going forward, but that is interesting. It's good to know, especially as a legitimate 50-50 guy. It's not a bad stat. I mean, in clutch moments, that says something, right?
I'd point out that's 38 targets over being in the playoffs with the Chiefs a trillion times, being in the playoffs with the Packers a trillion times.
Right.
It's not like this guy had 5 playoff games and he had 38 targets. We're talking a guy probably upwards of 10, 12. That tells you that 38 targets over 10 or 12 games is basically what this guy's good for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not really ideal. Definitely not ideal. But man, We'll see. We'll see what happens. Listen,
He's a low
we'll be
risk
talking.
signing. What do you want? You know, he's one of the only guys out there. He's low risk, and he's low risk, meh reward.
Yeah, exactly though. But that's my point though. It's like, yeah, but like he's low risk because he's not good.
Well, but that's how I felt about the Odell Beckham signing. It's a low risk signing. You know, it's not like the Dolphins are committing a bunch of money to him. He's a guy you bring in, and honestly, like for $3 million, whatever he gets you is kind of just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
That's why I love the Odell Beckham signing, because like if the thing is like if one of your starters goes down and you're stuck with Odell Beckham Jr., you still have a starting caliber wide receiver. Your issue isn't like how bad he is; it's like how much does he actually play.
Yeah.
If your starter goes down and you're stuck with MVS, you're just kicking yourself. It's like the meme with the guy riding his bike that stuck his like stick in the spoke. Like, what did I do to myself?
You know what though? I think a lot of people. This is totally unrelated to MVS, but I do think a lot of people are still sleeping on Khalil Shakir. I think that young man is a stud. I really do. He had a hell of a game against your Jets, Anthony. Don't forget.
I'm not saying he didn't. I'm saying that like that was a game. We're talking about a whole season.
I know.
And he had still Steph and Gabe to take the pressure off him.
That's true. That is true. And like you said, it's going to be a different type of offense this year. It's going to be, I think Trey said this, death by 1,000 paper cuts, right? I mean, you're just going to pick, and then maybe you get a long ball in there, but or probably a run. You know, it's going to be interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
But yes, week 1, guys, to start the season off, we got the Ravens and Chiefs. That was officially announced. Next up, this is an interesting one. It is the first Friday matchup that has been scheduled outside of like a holiday or obviously the Good Friday or not Good Friday. Black Friday game last year, right? But first Friday opener that has been scheduled, and it's in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Yeah.
Also interesting because I believe there is a rule in that stadium that the opposing team or anyone for that matter cannot be wearing green, or that the home team or fans or whatever cannot wear green because it is the color of their rival team, because it's a soccer stadium that plays there, or a soccer team that plays in the soccer stadium rather. So very interesting. And we got two green teams.
Have to wear their black jerseys then. I don't.
Right?
I didn't hear that, Jake. That's weird.
Packers wearing all yellows, but their logo is still green. So I don't know how that's going to work. That was just something I heard. I thought it was interesting. But yeah, first game of the year for these two squads in Brazil on a Friday. And Sean says that's where his wife's from. Really? Sean, you might have to go to this game, brother. That'd be kind of cool, huh? How hard is it to get there? That's the question.
14 hours maybe? Flight?
That's not too bad. Yeah. It's a cool matchup, honestly.
My buddy went down there for the World Cup a few years back. He said it was actually a really awesome city. He had a great time.
Yeah, for sure. Sao Paulo looks amazing. Especially if like you're like just gonna go there for a little bit or whatever, and you just stick to the tourist areas. I've heard just amazing things. But yeah, gorgeous city, gorgeous women, great place to be.
Love it. Nothing better than that. $1,000 a ticket, Howard, though. That's what Sean says. You hate to see that.
Seriously?
Man, that's insane.
I could see it. NFL coming to Sao Paulo. I could see it.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of this matchup? You think the Packers get a dub here? I mean, I kind of like this team. They're up and coming. They just signed Josh Jacobs.
How much do you believe in Jordan Love? He had like a good half a season.
He did. Yeah. And that was really it, right? I mean, playoffs he played pretty well.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm cautiously optimistic when it comes to Jordan Love. I think learning for 3 years, definitely played to his benefit. I still think the Eagles win this game. I think they've really gone to great lengths to solidify their roster this offseason, especially when it comes to the secondary.
Oh, yeah.
They now have Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Darius Slay, James Bradbury. Their secondary looks good on paper right now. And that's all we're projecting here. We're projecting everything on paper. So on paper, this is a game the Eagles should win, and I think they will.
I can see it. Yeah. And what are we thinking, man?
the Sao Paulo thing really throws me for a loop, to be honest with you, because these guys are going to be coming off the off season. They're going to be partying in like maybe the wildest town in South America, where like they pull models off the street for fun. Like there's a legitimate chance that like one or two pros get left there because they don't find their way back. Like 9 months from now, there will be some baby mamas in Brazil.
I love that. That is great.
So
Could definitely see that.
It's going to be a tough game to predict right now. It's whoever comes back intact.
You make it sound so glamorous, Anthony.
That's hilarious. I think Keith is probably glad that his Dolphins aren't playing down there. You know, Tyreek Hill.
Oh yeah,
probably would be on the hook for another one.
The Brazilian government
will be on the hook for a few down there.
That's hilarious.
How many days are they down there? 7? He'd probably be on the hook for about 7 or 8.
At least.
I love it. Yeah, by the way, this is going to be on Peacock too. So the NFL is still trying to go that direction where they're going to make you buy a subscription to Peacock. And if you don't already have an Amazon one too, of course, you're going to not be able to watch Thursday night games. So we got 2 streaming-based ways of watching games here. So I think if you're local, yeah.
I don't want us to get killed, but I'm gonna pirate that game. I'll tell you.
My man.
See, I actually got a Peacock subscription. I got a Peacock subscription for that Bills game they played toward the end of the season last year.
Yeah,
I forget which one it was, and I don't think I've canceled it. Actually, I think I'm still getting charged like $4 a month for it.
See, that's what they try to do. They try to reel you in. They put your card in. You don't even realize it.
Yep. They completely got me.
Oh yeah.
I have a Paramount subscription already. I'm not going to do two networks.
I don't blame you.
You know,
I mean, I have Amazon. I have, getting into Netflix, getting into streaming services. I'm so tired of it. But the Peacock thing, like, I'm not going to miss this game. I wasn't going to miss that Bills game last year. So I have to, and I'm not good at pirating stuff. I just don't know how to do it. So just get the Peacock and pay the $4 and move the frick on with my life.
You guys are going to be disgusted because I think I own every single a subscription to every single streaming service out there. I am a slave to convenience, and I forever will be. And that's just the way it is. And sometimes you look at the credit card and it's like, oh shoot, maybe I spent a little too much this month. And I would say a good portion of that is because of streaming services. So guilty, very guilty.
Well, and I bought NFL Sunday Ticket because I actually live in Philadelphia and I cheer for the Dolphins. So I bought NFL Sunday Ticket. And I say to my wife, I'm going to get this Peacock subscription for this one game. She's like, don't you have NFL Sunday Ticket? It's like, yeah, but this one doesn't go on the NFL Sunday. They're bleeding us dry. The NFL, they know they have us over a barrel, and they're just going to take full advantage of that.
When you're abroad, you just need the one Sunday Ticket, and it's usually cheaper. And you get all of the games live.
Oh, that is nice,
man. A couple of years ago, like before they switched it over to DAZN, I actually just used the VPN and Japanese subscription.
So that's the way to do it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Like that's the way I did it. It was great. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and if you have a college email, I believe you get like a severe discount on Sunday Ticket, where it's like 24. It was something really, really cheap.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah,
because I'm in grad school right now.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, loophole for you. And I think if you're a YouTube TV guy, if you're subscribed to YouTube TV, they're doing a $100 off promo right now for Sunday Tickets. So get them all hot, right?
I am subscribed to YouTube TV, and I got the $100 off.
Nice.
Even then, it was $300. It's nothing to sneeze at. Yeah,
it's expensive.
Yeah,
crazy.
It's still brutal.
No matter, you might have to go with a one-on-one course with Anthony for how to do this the other way, right?
We'll put it in the Discord at some point. I'll put it maybe in like our hidden server. I'll give you a little tutorial.
There we go.
For you.
Yeah. Time for UFL football saying Barkley a home run or Nick Sirianni is fired. Yeah, I would say so. I mean, how much did they pay Saquon? What was that contract? It was
more than the franchise tag.
Yeah.
Man.
So,
wow.
Yeah. And Saquon in that offense probably going to be worth it. I mean, DeAndre Swift went off in that offense. Before that, it was Miles Sanders. Saquon Barkley is a better running back than both those guys. So, again, on paper, this is an Eagles team that's pretty loaded, and I think week 1 they should take care of business against this Packers team.
I don't disagree with that, but like if the evidence is Miles Sanders went off, DeAndre Swift went off, anybody can go off.
Right.
Yeah, that's a compliment to their offensive line more than anything. But
that's the thing. What's the point of investing as much as they have in the offensive line if you also have to pay $12 million for a running back?
Well, yeah, I hear you, but it's like the Cowboys with Zeke in his rookie year. His first few seasons. The Cowboys invested heavily in their offensive line, and they let Zeke just run the ball down teams' throats, wear them down. And Zeke was kind of the perfect complement to that offensive line. He's a power runner. That offensive line was a power offensive line. They weren't like a zone thing or anything like that. They just blew guys off of their spots.
Yeah.
The same argument can be made for Saquon Barkley with this offensive line. Whereas I think DeAndre Swift was maybe a little too light, a little too wanting to bounce to the outside. And I think Saquon Barkley is just the better overall back, and put a better back behind this offensive line. Should yield better results, I would think, right?
Yes. What did DeAndre Swift have? Just over 1,000. So maybe Saquon has 1,600.
Yeah.
Could be if he's that much better.
If he's healthy.
Well, yeah, if he's healthy.
If he's that much better, then it would be an upgrade. But we know the NFL, and like these days, sometimes you just plug in 2-3 guys and you get your 1,600 yards. Like the Dolphins. Like the Dolphins do, really.
Yeah.
Yep. That's true. A lot of teams do
All right,
that.
next matchup.
Yeah, next matchup. Let's do it. Keep me on track, guys. Listen, I'll go a million different directions. All right, next matchup. We were just talking about this. The Cowboys at Browns. The Fox game of Sunday, the special matchup, the Fox game of the week matchup, if you call it, whatever they call it. This is Tom Brady's first game that he'll be calling, and going to be interesting. I think it is Brady and Burkhardt on the call here. Not sure what happened to Greg Olson, Anthony. I think he is still going to call games, but he was demoted.
Okay. Absolute disaster, that is.
I agree. This is interesting. I call this the Quincy Morgan, Antonio Bryant matchup, just because those are the two names that come to mind when I think Cowboys and Browns players. So what do you think of this one, guys?
I like this matchup a lot for the Cowboys. Again, like Deshaun Watson is the Deshaun Watson he's been for the last 2 years or so. You need to put up maybe 2 touchdowns to beat this football team. We have no idea if Nick Chubb's, figured out where the other half of his knee is yet. So that's not great. And, if this were Joe Flacco lacing him up for the Cleveland Browns, this might be a bit of a game. But the way that Deshaun Watson's played in the last couple, this just seems like it's going to be a bloodbath on paper.
I could see it. Yeah. Dak's got something to prove, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually go the opposite way on this one, Anthony. I think it's going to be a bloodbath in the other direction.
Wow.
Yeah, I do. I think the Browns, I love their defense. I love the way they've built their team. I think Deshaun Watson, I don't think it's fair to expect the Deshaun Watson that we got with Houston. But I do think he's working his way back towards that version of Deshaun Watson. And I hate what the Cowboys have done this offseason. They basically just said, okay, everybody has to prove it to us. Dak, their coach, Mike McCarthy, everybody just, if you don't prove it to us, we're going to blow the whole thing up. And I suppose Jerry Jones has tried everything else under the sun to get this team to win. And this is like his last resort, but I don't see it working. And I think the Cowboys are in for some major regression this season. Wow. I think, I loved them last season. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl in the preseason. This season, they look like an 8-win team to me.
That's fair. Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a pretty decisive victory for the Browns.
I'm going to split you both down the middle. I think this is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think.
Okay.
And I could listen. I think the Cowboys can score points still, just because they do have Dak and CeeDee, and that's going to be their bread and butter. The CeeDee Lamb might go for 2,000 yards this year. Like, I really think he is that guy. Like, he is so damn good. Dak is going to still put up numbers. I think this will be a high-scoring game, but it's going to be close. Ultimately, I'm going to Browns at home. White face mask brought those back. Let's give the Browns a victory by 3. That's what I'm saying is going to happen. I think Myles Garrett is going to have his way with that offensive line a little bit. Younger at the tackle positions. I do.
Hey.
They're a little bit younger now at the tackle positions. And
No Tyron Smith.
No Tyron Smith. You got Tyler Smith now there. Tyler Guyton, who we talked a little
Cooper
bit about.
Beebe is going to be the starting center.
That's true. I do love that.
I like that too.
That's a good move. They really did.
I'm a little jelly. I'm a little jelly of that one.
It was really they had a scary good draft.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Cowboys had a very good draft.
Guyton,
I respect the hell out of the fact that they always invest in the offensive line.
Yeah.
Tails always time.
That's the anti-Dolphins approach, and I respect it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Good stuff, guys. All right, moving on. Here we go. Got to get Anthony's take on this. So, first Monday night football game of the season will be the Jets at 49ers. Aaron Rodgers going back home to California. Not exactly in San Fran, but he's not too far from that.
Yeah, no, he's from Northern California.
Yeah.
He went to University of California for college. He went to Berkeley.
He did.
Yep, he did.
So this is going to be interesting.
Hmm?
What do we think, man?
To be honest with you, I think it's a really good matchup for the Jets, especially early on in the season. This is when the team's actually healthy.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah.
No training camp injuries, no preseason injuries. This team's actually going to be really healthy, and I think we match up well against San Francisco. I think offensively, they have a phenomenal defense, but we also, on paper, have a really good offensive line. We have Breece Hall. We have Mike Williams. We will have Garrett Wilson. We've got a very decent, solid, deep team on offense. And on defense, again, everybody's going to be healthy to start out the year. So, we were, in my opinion, one of the best rosters in the NFL early on in the season when we were healthy last year. And I think that we went from strength to strength. The problem with this team is going to be depth. The problem with this team is going to be age. And those things get found out later on in the season.
Sure. Yeah.
So I like us here.
Yeah, I was trying to think with the Niners. So I know obviously they lost Eric Armstead. I think they brought in Malik Collins. Javon Hargrave is on that team, I know. So I was trying to think of who they have right now on that D line. They signed Leonard Floyd.
They traded for Chase Young, but they will let him walk.
Right.
So
yep.
You're expecting they're going to be a little bit worse than they were in the end of last year. They've still got the linebackers. They've still got a decent secondary. The offensive line, I feel, is here or there. I think Brock Purdy can be exposed by 2 really good cornerbacks, which we have. And so it's going to come down to who can break the game open. And they have Christian McCaffrey, who's about as good as it gets, and then we have Breece Hall, who's again about as good as it gets. Mm-hmm. So these are 2 extremely similarly built
fun
teams.
One. Yeah,
for sure.
I think they got this. They definitely got it right here. The Monday night matchup, you got to have it somewhat exciting, right? There's a lot of good storylines here. Aaron going back to Cali, and I like the matchup. I think it's going to be close. I definitely do. I mean, obviously hoping the Niners pull it off, but I think, Anthony, you guys are right there with them, man. If you guys, barring that you're healthy, this is going to be a very tight game.
Yeah.
And a good one.
Yeah, for sure. It's all I could hope for as a Jets fan, to have a roster that you can rival to a team that's a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Our first look at what the Jets are going to be made of. That's for damn sure. So exciting matchup to start off the Monday night football schedule. Let's go into this one, Keith. Talk about our Bills and Dolphins, the first Thursday night matchup on Prime. This is great. I think they hit the nail on the head with bringing it, right? So, it's a different look for the Bills this year. We were just talking about that to start the show. A different look for your Dolphins as well. I mean, you guys lost some key pieces specifically on the defensive line. So what are your initial feelings here? The Bills, I believe, are 1.5 point underdogs right now coming into this game.
I can't believe there's a line on this game already. I mean, I can't believe
there is. There actually is. Yeah.
There's a line on this game already. But man, it's so early to project what's going to go on in this game. I think, see, there's Sean. Miami's winning 34-13.
Oh baby,
I think it's going to be a close one. I think I like the matchup. I don't know that I love playing the Bills so early in the season. I want to. I really want to. Well, I don't love playing the Bills in Miami this early in the season because that means later on in the season when things get cold, the Dolphins have to travel up to Buffalo. So that doesn't thrill me. It's going to be a fun matchup. It's going to be one that I'm going to be thinking about all summer. So thank you for the schedule makers. Thank you to the schedule makers for that one.
Week 2, man. This is early on. Definitely. Yeah. But listen, right away, you're already talking having some division losses potentially for one of these two teams. So could make or break you, could get you down early, could get you up early. So it's exciting. I'm fired up, man.
Well, Sunday we're going to go through it again, Jake, with Mike on the Rush Hour show.
Yep.
And we're going to go through position by position, and that's going to be fun. But thinking about it right now, like this is such a close matchup. And to Anthony's point from earlier, on paper, I think the Jets are probably the best team in the division.
Absolutely.
The best put together team.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of whether or not they can stay healthy, whether or not they can persevere. Through Tyron Smith's going to inevitably get hurt. That's so
for Shanu he will.
Yeah. And then you look at the Dolphins and if you told me that the entire Dolphins roster basically was going to get injured, I'd have thought that'll include Tua. Well, oddly enough, Tua was the one guy on the roster that stayed healthy all last season. Everybody else on the roster seemed to just drop at certain points. So, in week 2, again, the Dolphins should be healthy, and they should get they should give the Bills the best version of themselves, especially at home. So this is a good test for the Dolphins early on in the season to kind of prove the naysayers wrong where they can't beat good teams. If they can win this game, they can kind of get that monkey off their back early in the season and then maybe go throughout the rest of the season with a different mindset.
I just love that for whatever reason, Josh always plays really, really well against your Finns.
He does.
So obviously that's the hope I have here. I think on paper, you look at the position groups. We'll get into that on Sunday, but
yes, we will.
You guys may have a slight advantage just on paper, just looking at it, right?
Hey,
but the fact that we still have JA-17,
yeah,
I'm going to take my Bills here. I'm going to take them here, Keith.
I'm going to take
as I should,
Fins.
right?
I'm going to
I love it.
take the Fins.
Yes.
Again, on Sunday we'll go through it position by position. I'm assuming you're going to be doing the same thing with Anthony and the Jets at some point.
Oh yeah. Yep.
We'll go through it by position on Sunday, and we're going to have a good time doing it. And even then, we're probably going to walk away from it thinking, I don't freaking know what's going to happen in this game.
I know.
I don't think we do.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, my dad was saying, so they were just on a cruise and they were in Hawaii, and his Uber driver or his bus driver that was taking him from the resort or wherever was Tua's teacher in high school. So that's kind of cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty neat.
Sean
also.
You know who the third base coach for the Atlanta Braves is?
No.
Tua's father.
No way. Are you serious?
I'm serious.
That is
third
wild.
base coach for the Atlanta Braves.
Wow.
Can we go back to this for 1 second? He said his Uber driver was to his high school teacher.
Yes.
That's depressing as a teacher for me to say that a teacher is also an Uber driver.
Yep.
Hey, my cousin taught Matt Ryan back in elementary school.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Is he delivering pizzas now? Because the story. That
No,
story's
she's,
not nearly as depressing as the first one.
She's still teaching, actually. She was really young when she had him, but she's
Nice.
still teaching.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I don't think she's an Uber driver. I don't believe that's what that's what happened to her.
I guess we're trying to make some side money or something, but if you have to do it, I agree though, Anth. I mean, what the hell, man? We got to pay these teachers more.
Yeah.
Come on. The heck. Trey, interior pressure is good against Josh Allen. Miami lost it. I still think they make some kind of trade for a defensive tackle. Otherwise, I don't see how Miami can stop teams from running. Valid point, Trey. Yeah. Keith, any rebuttal to that one?
I'm sorry. I was.
Oh, that's okay. I was just
said?
bringing up Trey's comment here. So he said interior pressure is good against Josh Allen. Miami lost it. I still think they make some kind of trade for a defensive tackle. Otherwise,
I don't think they're trading for a defensive tackle. No, I don't. They're any additions they make are going to be through free agency or this post June 1st money is going to be coming to the Dolphins, and they're going to be flush with cap space all of a sudden, and they're not going to be getting the creme de la creme of free agents, but they're going to be getting some guys that still have a little bit of still have a little bit of tread on their tires. So as far as interior pressure against Josh Allen, that's all well and good, but they had Christian Wilkins, and it's not like Christian Wilkins moved the needle much with that. So I think what the Dolphins need to focus on more so is just kind of containing Josh Allen and stopping the run. Because towards the end of the season, Anthony's right. The Bills were just running the ball down teams' throats. And I think that's what they want their identity as a football team on offense to be going forward. They want to be a run-first team. And then when they lull you to sleep, Josh Allen hits you over the top with that howitzer of an arm of his. It's a great strategy to go about doing things. So what the Dolphins have to do is they need to focus on stopping James Cook and those running backs.
I do like the kid, Tier Tart, who you guys signed.
Yeah, I like him.
He's a good player. I like that kid a lot. He did a lot of good things in Tennessee. I think he was with Houston too.
He was.
But I like him a lot.
As far as defensive tackles go, it's just going to be a rotation kind of thing. Zach Sealer, Neville Gallimore, Tier Tart, guys like that, they're just going to be rotating guys. It's not going to be a Christian Wilkins who's going to be the star of the show. It's not going to be an Ed Oliver or a Quinn Williams kind of thing. No guy on the Dolphins defensive tackles, no guy in the Dolphins defensive tackle room is going to jump off the paper at you and make you think, oh, he's a future star. That's not how the Dolphins built their roster. I'm not saying I agree with it because
sounds like a receiving core.
Yeah. And every team has rooms like that where they say, we're solid, but we'll
get by.
We're hopefully solid. We'll get by. We'll get by. We're hopefully solid, but we're just hoping this unit doesn't get exposed. And that's what the Dolphins are saying with a few of their units, and defensive tackle being one of them.
Yeah. Sean makes a good point here too. He said, we also had one of the best interior offensive lines in the NFL last year. Allen found trouble when he held the ball. Yeah, that's definitely true. I think sometimes Josh does try to play hero ball, and that's what's gotten him in trouble in the past. So that certainly can always happen. You just never know. I mean, we saw what happened the Monday nighter of the opening game last year, right? Against the Jets. I mean, that game was solely on Josh Allen, just trying to do Josh Allen-like things. And it's crazy because that's really, really good or really, really bad. And that's what you sign up for.
Yeah. I'd point out that interior pressure is good against everybody. There isn't a quarterback that's good with a defensive tackle in their lap.
True.
Yeah,
that's true.
Which explains why the Dolphins just completely ignored the interior of their offensive line this offseason.
You got no faith in Aaron Brewer as your center? Aaron Brewer, did he put on any weight? He's like a 270 something, right?
Yeah, he needs to put on some weight. Someone to get that man a cheeseburger.
He's not bad. He's really not a bad player, though. I mean,
no, and he's mobile, and he fits what the Dolphins want to do as far as the running game is concerned. But as far as what they want to do passing wise, I've said this before. Quinn Williams, when he plays the Dolphins, he's going to line up right over top of Aaron Brewer and beat him down all day long. If I'm Robert Saleh, that's what I'm doing. I'm saying to Quinn Williams, go and make that guy's life hell all afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Conversely, if the Dolphins would have drafted Cooper Beebe, he would have stood a shot against a Quinn Williams, against an Ed Oliver. So I hope the Dolphins have a plan. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Me too, for your sake, Keith. Not against us, though.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. This is the last one that was officially confirmed. I think Weston did send something else too that they confirmed. There was another game out there, but wanted to talk about this one. Obviously, the Cincinnati Bengals at Kansas City Chiefs. Another Chiefs game, but this is one of the specials, one of the featured games for CBS at 4:25 p.m. During Week 2. So Chiefs starting with 2 back-to-back AFC North teams, and they could very well. Don't get it twisted. They could very well start the season off 0-2. What do you guys think of that?
I think it's possible.
I'm just being hopeful right now.
I just think I wonder what the Bengals are. The Bengals are still in flux. They still haven't, figured out the whole T. Higgins situation. I think T. Higgins still wants out. So you don't know what's going to happen there. Joe Burrow's coming back. That's great. But the Bengals are another team, kind of like the Jets, where you just don't know what you're going to get going into the season. On paper, their roster looks good, but you don't know. You don't know what Joe Burrow is going to look like coming back. You don't know what a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers is going to look like coming back. You just don't know about this team. So, again, this is another Chiefs game where, they could conceivably lose, but I like them. I think I would take them in the game.
With you on that. Anth, what are we thinking?
It's really too tough to tell. I think that the Chiefs roster has taken a bit of a step back. And especially early on in the season, this might be a good opportunity for the Bengals to exploit that. I think Joe Burrow spent most of last season with the calf injury that just didn't heal, and then eventually they just pulled him anyway. They probably should have just let him heal up for an extra 5 or 6 weeks to start off the season so that he actually played healthy the second half, and they might have a much better season. But I don't see the Bengals having lost very much. Did they get rid of Trey Hendrickson, or did they keep him?
No, he's still there. He did request a trade, though.
Let him go. So I don't see the Bengals taking a step back in any capacity so far. If anything, they might wind up moving T. Higgins at some point in the season for depth somewhere else and a pick. That's still going to be an option. Same with Trey Hendrickson. They drafted potentially T. Higgins' replacement in Jermaine Burton. So we'll see where we are. But right now, if I'm just looking at the two teams on paper, the Bengals do look stronger than the Chiefs. So
I agree. I think the Chiefs, I'm just going to say it because I said they're going to lose the first game. I think they're going to even out at 1-1, but not going to rule out the chance that they start 0-2. And again, this is way, way too early to tell, but just wanted to preview some of these games for you guys. Obviously, some games getting leaked prior to the official schedule drop. Keith, sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I mean, we said the same thing about the Chiefs last year, that their rosters regressed, and
we did,
and
they proved
they
everyone
went on
wrong.
a Super Bowl. So
Yep.
I'm not counting out the Chiefs, and I still think that Andy Reid's still their coach, Patrick Mahomes is still their quarterback.
Yeah,
for sure.
End of the day, right? Sean says, Jake, name a bad player in the NFL. You think everyone is good? I do, man. I am very guilty of that, and here's why. I'll give you the background on this. So when I was younger, when the Bills had Rob Johnson, I'm like, that guy stinks, and my dad's like, if you ever try to throw a football versus Rob Johnson, you would see just how good Rob Johnson really is. And I think that sort of stuck with me. And then obviously playing football and going through the ranks and stuff like that, and playing college ball a little bit, and then working with the University of Buffalo, being able to see Khalil Mack up close and personal on a day-to-day basis, you see how incredible these guys are and how incredibly difficult it is to get to the next level. And I have a very hard time criticizing these guys. I'll still make comments here and there, don't get me wrong. But I think that mentality has been ingrained in me now, where it's like I can't even, I didn't make it to that level, so how can I chirp this guy or say that he's a bad player? And we're not really saying they're bad players. We're comparing them to other professionals in the league, right? Everyone that makes it to the NFL is incredible. They are one of so many million to make it to the next level. So I think even when you guys say, you don't necessarily mean that they're a bad player. Like, they're 10 times the football player that you are, right? So it's like, you can't say that. But compared to other players in the league, they are not good compared to this player, right? So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's really why. Yeah. What's my dad say? Sean, you got to be more positive and start talking about good things going on in the NFL. I think we'll be a much happier guy. Love it, Dad. Love it. Mike, way to raise Jake Big L. Yeah, I love it. Well, hey, we're going to talk about some accomplishments coming up for these rookies, right? So the rookie draft classes for each of our respective teams here. Some of the guys here featured, right? We got Olu on there, Keon Coleman, Cole Bishop, Malachi Corley, Drake May, Jalen Polk, Chop, Keith's favorite draft pick, and Patrick Paul, right? So just want to first go around here and get your guys' take on one rookie that will impact your team the most this year. And that could be a draft pick. It could be a UDFA for all we know. But Anthony, I'm going to start with you. Who do you think?
For the New York Jets, I'm hoping it's going to be Malachi Corley. Because if it's not, it means it's Olu Fashanu, and that means that Tyron Smith's gone down already. Yeah, I'm going to hope that it's Malachi Corley. They brought him in to be an offensive weapon. You would hope he makes an impact. I mean, that's what you brought him in for. So, like, I hope it's him. Because if it's not, we got real problems.
Yeah, that's fair. Keith, what are we thinking about those Finns? You think it's going to be Chop? You think it's going to be Patrick Paul? Or
I'm
neither?
thinking it's going to be Malik Washington. He should run a lot of routes out of the slot for the Dolphins. Look, rookie mini camps started last week. The Dolphins had Chop out there, and from preliminary reports, it looked like he was just ordinary. This was my biggest fear regarding Chop going into this season, where you just look at Chop and you just say, he's just a guy. You want Chop to jump off the page at you like he did with his, first step at college that everybody seemed to be drooling over so much, This is not a good start to things for Chop. This is making me feel vindicated, and I don't want to feel vindicated. I want to be wrong. I want to be so wrong.
Yeah.
It's just not. I think it's going to be Malik Washington. I think he's going to run some routes out of the slot, and I think as the season goes on, you're going to see him more and more on the field for the Dolphins and making bigger and bigger impacts. Patrick Paul's a guy that shouldn't be starting, much like Olu Fashanu. If we see Patrick Paul early on in the season, that means Teron Armstead's gone down. So Patrick Paul shouldn't be a guy that gets that much play early in the season, at least. And the only other guy that I think could make a big impact is Muhammad Kamara, who I think is pro ready, and he'll be 24. Yeah. He'll be 24 before the season starts. So between Kamara and Malik Washington, those are the guys that see making the biggest impact. Not Chop, unfortunately.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I don't see a situation where Patrick Paul kicks inside, right? He's 6'7", 330. Like, to me, he's just
too big. He's just too big for guard.
Mm-hmm.
There is such a thing as being too big for guard, and Patrick Paul is that. The preliminary reports from Patrick Paul, they didn't really say much about him other than, wow, he's really big. And yeah, he's a mammoth human being. So yeah, he's not kicking inside the guard, Jake. I don't see it.
Yeah, no chance, right? Chop, can't listen to these rookie camp reporters. Trey saying Sam Monson brought up a good point. Olu Fashanu is going to get a ton of first-team reps because Tyron doesn't generally practice due to health. Great for Olu. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, veteran rest days. A lot of those for Tyron Smith. Absolutely. Sean saying, I'm grateful for every day God gives me. I promise, Big Al, I'll get action mad when the season starts. Yeah, Sean, no, I think we know. So Sean is also a very sarcastic individual, and I laugh at it because I do think it's funny. It does make my day sometimes, Sean. Listen, we know, brother. If something is really going on, though, you better let us know, okay? But
he's oddly optimistic when it comes to his nationals, though.
He is. Yes, he is. That's true. That's a good point.
He's optimistic when it comes to his nationals, but when it comes to the Bills, he's the biggest pessimist in the world. So I find that funny.
By the way, Weston, sorry, brother, but we did. Well, I guess maybe I did. I said there's a potential that your Chiefs could start 0-2. We went through some of the schedule leaks that have happened here. So Ravens and Bengals, 2 back-to-back AFC North teams, going to be interesting for you guys. I think you're actually going to probably split it. You'll go 1-1. But I said, hey, don't rule it out if the Chiefs start 0-2, but then watch them win 15 straight. So we know what happens there. Good coaching, good GM. You guys always figure it out. Okay. I love the Malik Washington pick, Keith. That was one of Anthony and I's pre-draft crushes for sure. That guy is meant to play slot in the NFL, and I think he's going to be a day one contributor for you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He may catch 8 passes in your opening game. So would not be surprised one bit. So I love that. Malachi Corley as well. I am a huge fan, Anth. I think he's going to be a guy for sure. Another slot guy. So 2 slot receivers to start it off. I'm going to go in a different direction, and I know Keon Coleman is featured here, right? But I think Keon will be decent his rookie year. I'm not going to say he's going to put up crazy numbers. He's going to be a 600-yard receiver guy, I think. I think that's really what it's going to be, 50 for 6 something, maybe 5 touchdowns. I do think the guy to the right here, Cole Bishop, is going to be an absolute stud at the next level, and I struggled here. I thought it was going to be between the 2 rookies that make the most impact. I felt like maybe either Cole Bishop or Cedric Van Pran, and I love the Van Pran pick, but seeing that Connor McGovern is still going to be probably our starting center until he does lose out and maybe kicks back to left guard, I think Cole Bishop has the biggest chance to be the guy, right? I said he was going to be Harrison Smith 2.0. The measurables are there. He could play either strong or free safety. He could play nickel if you need him to. He can go match up really well against tight ends. I think this dude just brings so much to the table. He has a very high football IQ. He's a perfect fit for our defensive scheme, and he's young and he's hungry, man. So I think he's going to be the dude that makes the biggest impact this year for the Buffalo Bills, and that's a position where we need it. Safety, we just lose Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. So this is a position where we're going to need someone to step up. So that's my guy, Cole Bishop, all day, baby. So I want to get your guys' take real quick for the Pats. Who will be the most impactful rookie for the Pats this year? I'm going to let you go. Anthony, give me your name.
I think it's going to be. I think this may be a lost season for the Pats. I think they're maybe a 7-win team, 6-win team, something like that. But I think a few of them come in the late part of the season, so I'm going to say Drake May. I think he's going to play at the very end of the year, maybe 4 or 5 games just to sort of clean up, and I think he's going to look good. So I'm going to say Drake May because he's the only one that's going to matter ultimately.
Agreed. Sean says, I think Chop Robinson, Malachi Corley, and Drake May all tear their ACLs week 1. Glad he didn't say Cole Bishop there. That's tough, man.
I mean, if Drake May tears his ACL from the bench, what are we doing, boys?
Yeah, what are we doing, man? Yeah. I like that pick. I feel like the receiver room is just too loaded for Jalen Polk to really make a significant impact. And I say loaded lightly. I don't think it's loaded necessarily like with a bunch of dogs, right? I just think it's a bunch of solid receivers, guys that are all going to contribute in ways kind of similar to the Bills receiver room, to be honest with you. I think that's a good pick. Just because it's inevitable. I think Jacoby Brissett's going to get the first maybe 8 games of the year, and then Drake May is going to take over, and maybe he'll gut out a few really big wins for them towards the end of the year. But Keith, what are we thinking on that?
I go back and forth on this. I think if the Patriots are smart and if everything goes according to plan, Drake May shouldn't see the field next year. That's just how I feel about rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think, Jalen Polk, maybe Javon Baker, make the biggest impact for the Patriots. Shouldn't be Drake May. Probably will end up being Drake May because, teams just want to jump the gun so much. If teams want to jump the gun on getting their franchise quarterback out there, they want to give their fan bases something to hold on to for the next season. I get it, but you know what? If Jacoby Brissett stays healthy, he should be the starter from week 1 all the way through week 18. And I agree with Anthony. It's going to be a lost season for the Patriots, but I think you can still find out a lot about a team in defeat with the Patriots. You want to see them be pests. You want to see them be gutsy. You want to see them push the Dolphins to the limit in week 9 or whatever. You want to see them push the Bills to the limit. when they play them. That's what you want to see. You want to see them be a pesky team, and that's what Brissett can be for you. Whereas you throw Drake May out there behind an offensive line that still is not looking all that great, you stand a chance of really setting him back years in his development. So I'm going to go with Jalen Polk. I'm going to go with Javon Baker. I'm going to, for the Patriots, I'm going to say hopefully Drake May isn't that guy that makes the most impact.
Yeah, I like that. What about Caden Wallace? How we feel about that? Penn State, 3rd-round pick for them.
Yeah, he was
for the left
overdrafted.
tackle.
He was overdrafted by a lot, in my opinion.
Pats have a thing for that with offensive linemen, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do. I like Caden Wallace, but he's another guy that was a guy that needed some serious seasoning.
Yeah.
And I think he was just way overdrafted. When the Pats drafted him, I thought,
wow.
My mind was blown. I honestly didn't expect to see his name until like the 5th or 6th round.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
That was quite the. I did a double take actually when I saw they drafted Caden Wallace.
I did too. I was like, no way, what? Wild, man. Yeah, you gotta love it.
Yeah, so it's gonna be. They're just gonna find out a lot about their team this offseason. Pats fans need to exercise some patience, and I think 2 decades of dominance will help you be a little patient, I suppose. So I don't think Chris would disagree. Well, Chris would probably disagree. Chris probably thinks
absolutely
going to win the AFC East this year.
Yeah.
But most Pats fans, I don't think would disagree that you just need to be patient this season. It's not going to be the best season for Patriots football.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Agreed with that. I do like what Trey said here. Cole Bishop, just talking about the Bills. Cole Bishop is the Bills' biggest rookie impact easily. McDermott is going to put him in position for sacks. Yeah, that's one thing, too, that I didn't even mention, how good he is as a blitzer. Like, that's something he was really, really good at Utah, and something that Jordan Poyer did extremely well. You see some signs of him in Cole Bishop's game, too. So I'm excited about it, man. And I love that he gives you so much versatility where he can play either free or strong. Can play nickel as well. Like, it's a really exciting pick to me. And this is probably my favorite pick outside of the Cedric Van Pran Granger pick. And I love what Sean says. It's going to be a top 7 center this season. I hope so, man. I hope he gets a shot to be the guy. Because, yeah, that was a steal.
I wouldn't doubt it. He's got some Jason Kelsey in him. That's Cedric Van Pran.
He is wearing 62, I believe, as well.
Okay.
Let me make sure of that. I'm pretty sure he is. Cedric Van Pran. Let's see. He is wearing number 62 as well. How about it? How about it?
There's some Jason Kelsey in that dude. He's not he's not the biggest physical specimen. He's not the fastest or the strongest, but you know what? He just knows how to ball. And he's another guy. I wanted on the Dolphins. I wanted the Dolphins to draft a center, and I wanted Van Pran. Well, let's be honest. I wanted JPJ. But I would have settled for Van Pran, and especially in the 5th round when the Bills got him.
It's incredible. I still can't believe it. I mean,
great value.
Absolutely. Well, I like it, guys. Let's move on to around the league for some of the rookies. So I wanted to bring this up. This is according to these are the betting lines according to BetMGM Sportsbook right now. These are the favorites to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. So first off, I want to talk about just regular Rookie of the Year. Typically, it's a quarterback that wins this award. Do you see it going any other way? Anthony, I'm going to start with you. Do you see, for as strong as of a receiver class as it was, do you see a receiver potentially winning Rookie of the Year?
It's going to have to be Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
He's the only one of the rookies with an established NFL quarterback who we know can take advantage of a receiver that can go deep. So I think it's going to have to be Marvin Harrison Jr., but let's be honest, it's going to be Caleb Williams. It's possible it's Jaden Daniels, but I wouldn't bank on it. I would say more than likely, if it's going to be anybody, it's going to be Jaden Daniels. Or sorry, it's going to be Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, yeah.
Let me just throw a possibility out there. How about Malik Neighbors?
Okay.
Not much competition for touches there. They're running back left in free agency, so there really aren't that many weapons. Malik Neighbors is a guy you want to get the ball to him, close to the line of scrimmage and let him do his thing. He could turn into somewhat of a guy that has an Odell Beckham type of impact in his rookie season for the Giants. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I do like Brian Daboll as a coach. I like Brian Daboll as an offensive play caller, and I think he's going to figure out creative ways to get the ball into Malik Neighbors' hands. So I agree with Anthony. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably the guy if it's not Caleb Williams, but I wouldn't sleep on Malik Neighbors either because he was overshadowed so much by Marvin Harrison Jr. in during the draft season and everything, but he has every bit as much potential as Marvin Harrison Jr. does.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm just looking at some of the actual rookie of the year winners, and this it was actually first awarded back in 2002, which I did not know. They just did an overall rookie of the year award, and forgot that Aiden Hutchinson actually won it. Jamar Chase won it. Nick Bosa won it. Saquon won it. So it isn't just specific to a quarterback. I mean, I would say majority here, it does look like quarterbacks have been predominantly the winner of this, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that even a defensive end, or a defensive player could win this award.
It's only happened in like really quarterback light years though.
Yeah, that's true.
It's if a quarterback is like even pretty good, they tend to win it.
Yeah. You got to see some of the names on this list, actually. It's incredible. The first winner of this award, by the way, was Jeremy Shockey, tight end for the Giants back in 2002. Then it was Dominic Davis for the Texans, running back. Cadillac Williams won it the 1 year. Percy Harvin, Ndamukong Suh won it. Keenan Allen won it. I mean, there's an interesting list of names here. So, yeah. But yeah, as far as offensive rookie of the year goes, in addition to that, most likely going to be a quarterback, especially with how many guys were taken in the first round. One of them is bound to be the dude. How about Mike saying Chop Robinson will win it? 12 sacks this year. Love it.
Honestly, like if we're being completely serious, I think it's more likely than it isn't that Chop Robinson could win Rookie of the Year.
I love your guys' optimism.
Clip this. We'll play it back in February.
Yes. Okay. I would love to be wrong.
Right.
If any defensive player is going to do it, I think he has the highest upside to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely agree with that. I'm looking to see. I don't think he did, but looking to see if Larry Fitzgerald won it. No, it was Big Ben. That's right. Yeah. Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2004. Because that would be poetic if Marvin came in. I want to know. So Larry was drafted third overall. Marvin at
Let me go back for 1 second. If Chop's going to win, it's going to be more than 12 sacks.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be like one of those crazy 16 sack seasons for him to be able to do it because Caleb's a starting quarterback from day one. Jaden Daniels is a starting quarterback from day one. Those guys like get anywhere near 3,500 yards, much less 4,000, and it's out of contention.
Will we see the Bears' first 4,000-yard passer in franchise history in Caleb Williams this year?
That's
rookie.
The
real question.
Maybe not this year.
With that receiving core, though.
I don't think it'll be this year, but I think it'll happen eventually.
Yeah. Especially with a dome, right? I mean, that's bound to happen with the new stadium. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. Any names on here that you guys want to mention that you think have a potential at winning either Offensive Rookie of the Year or Rookie of the Year?
Not here, but I think a little bit further down.
Sure. This is all I got for right now. I just clipped it. I just clipped it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's possible that one of the other wide receivers does it.
Keon Coleman.
Let me think. Off the top of my head, who do I think would be able to win it day one? You guys are gonna hate this. I think I mean, and this is like Marvin Harrison Jr. craps the bed, tears his ACL, doesn't play enough games or something like that, and the top three, like something happens to make the top three not make it. Of the next like 5 or 6 wide receivers, I think it could be Xavier Leggett, or it could be, probably Xavier Leggett. Not because I think he's like the most talented receiver in the entire universe, but because there's nobody to fight him for targets.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. They got Deontay Johnson. They got Adam
Yeah,
Thielen.
that's what I mean. Like Adam Thielen and Deontay Johnson. Like,
I don't know, dude. Adam Thielen caught 103 passes last year, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, he was the only show in town, though.
he was the only thing there then.
He
Like,
was. That's true. That is true. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, there's not a lot there.
Yeah.
There's
I
not
could
a lot there.
unfortunately see Xavier Worthy being that guy as well if he has a monster
There's
year.
there's so many with Hollywood Brown there, with Jason Kelsey. Like, first off, since Jason Kelsey's been the primary receiver there, like nobody has like come close in targets.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure anybody's gone over 100 targets, not even Juju. I think Juju was around 90. And if you're
Tyreek Hill, maybe, right? Maybe
well, Tyreek Hill definitely.
But before that, I'm talking about when Tyreek Hill was there, he was the target leader, even over Travis Kelce. So, like, since they traded Tyreek Hill, and it's only been Travis Kelce there, no other receivers got anywhere near over like 100 targets. I think the leader was Juju at like 90. Last year, I think Rasheem might have had like 75 or 80. MVS is usually around 40 or something like that. And they just sort of evenly distribute it, with Travis Kelce getting like 130 some odd targets. Right. So, like, you're looking for somebody that's going to get that 110, 130 target type season. And I mean, there's not a lot of rookie receivers in that position outside of the top 3.
Yeah.
Roma Dunze probably isn't going to get that many because it's going to be DJ. Right. But like Malik Neighbors could be in that territory.
Keenan Allen too, yeah.
Yeah, and Xavier Leggett is one of those guys that, like, no, he didn't have that many targets in college, but there's nobody's really competing with.
True. Yeah.
All right, guys, I have to run, but you guys have a nice night. I'll see
Keith,
you.
You're gonna miss us talking about Chop Robinson winning Defensive Rookie of the Year.
You guys keep on talking about that and wish that into existence. All right.
Yeah, we will. All right, brother.
Guys. Have a nice night.
Always a pleasure. You too, man.
Take care.
All right, Anth. Real quick, we'll talk about Defensive Rookie of the Years here.
For sure.
Yeah, so I have all the different betting platforms listed here. They give the odds and whatnot. Looks like
this one I think is a little bit clearer. This one I would actually I know that Latu's number 2, but I would have Latu number 1.
I agree. I'm with you on that. Yeah.
I think Latu is definitely the best position.
It's crazy because he was the first defensive player taken at pick 15, I think it was, right?
Yes. He was to the Colts ahead of Dallas Turner.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I do think it's a defensive end. It's got to be an edge. Jared Verse is interesting. I actually really, really like that kid a lot, especially with him playing with his boy Braden Fisk too in LA. So that'll be interesting to see. But I like the Latu pick. I think that's going to be the guy for sure.
I just think he's going to end up being the primary edge rusher for them. Like, immediately, there's nobody that's even going to be rotating with him. I think he's going to play a ton of downs, and I think his game is going to seamlessly translate to the NFL.
And you were talking about this too, like the last non-defensive end to really win it.
They're linebackers. If you look at it, it's all linebackers, cornerbacks, and defensive ends, and there's only 3 cornerbacks in the past like 30 years or so.
Pretty wild.
And all of them more than the last 10 years. And I don't think any of the cornerbacks this year fit like the Marshawn Lattimore, immediate stud, Sauce Gardner, immediate best cornerback in the NFL kind of mold. Even Patrick Surtain, who is one of the best cornerbacks, lost out to a similarly graded sort of defensive end. So, like, it's these pressure numbers that teams that you have to think about who's voting for it.
Yeah.
They're casuals. They're reporters. There's guys that don't care that much about football. They're looking at like the big numbers, and the sack numbers are the big numbers these days. So if there's an equal number of like really, and the other thing is this, it's very heavily skewed towards first round picks. Like especially different because again, it's sort of casuals that don't watch. A couple of years ago, if you remember the dude from Seattle, Tariq Woolen.
Tariq
He had
Woolen.
like
Yeah.
interceptions that year and 2 touchdowns. One off of a fumble he recovered and brought it back like 60 yards, and another one off an interception that I brought back like 60 yards or so. He had 2 touchdowns as a rookie, a couple of forced fumbles, 8 interceptions, and he still came in second to the first round pick Sauce. And I think Sauce was probably better, but like one guy was like a 4th, 5th round pick, and the other guy was like the top 5 pick. The voters go for the top 5 pick.
Yep.
So like even if you're really fighting against so much if you're not producing sacks and you're not a very highly graded first round pick.
Yeah, it's interesting too. I mean, you look at the list of names and you hit the nail on the head. So it's either defensive ends, linebackers. There was one defensive tackle there, Aaron Donald, and then obviously a couple corners in the mix. But the last kind of obscure position to win it was Mark Carrier back in 1990, safety with the Bears. Dude, you look at some numbers. Mark Carrier put up some insane stats back in the day with the Bears. But yeah, he won it back in 1990. So very interesting. But yeah, predominantly.
If you're picking anything, you start with an edge rusher. Whoever the best edge rusher that you're expecting to perform this year, probably the direction you're going in, unless you're, again, Aaron Donald, Sauce Gardner level prospect, like day one super hit, and the NFL knows that you're doing it. Because I don't think Sauce would have won it if he would have been in a smaller market.
I agree. And with a name like Sauce, I mean, come on. If he's playing well, you got to vote for him, right? It just
a name like Sauce playing in New York, like, that's just going to hit it. Otherwise, they're looking at sack numbers.
Yeah, I agree. Weston's saying, Jake, they hating on your boy Drake May with that list. Well, the thought is...
He's not going to play that much.
That's the thing. I mean, how much is he going to play? Because Jacoby Brissett will be the starter probably at the beginning of the year.
And they seem to be comfortable with the fact that, like, they're going to play Jacoby Brissett for, like, the season. Not because they necessarily think that he's going to be the best quarterback long term, but like they know that the team's a dumpster fire. They know they just got hired, so it's not like there's. And the thing is this: they have an old owner. This guy's been owning the team for 20 plus years now. He does not like we need to put fans in the seats like new owners always think.
Mm-hmm.
He's thinking, all right, well, we did it wrong last time with Mac Jones. This team's a dumpster fire. Let's go ahead and make sure that we get somebody that can set the protections. We get somebody that's a professional quarterback. We get somebody that we lose a bunch of games. Nobody's expecting us to win that many games this year anyway. The season ticket holders have been season ticket holders for 30 years now. They're just going to keep re-upping. They know that this is a long-term project. There's not the same kind of pressure that you get with like a Commanders who have a brand new ownership group, or David Tepper who is cuckoo but loaded
loose
on
cannon. Yeah, I'm with you on that. It makes sense the way you put it there. Definitely. Any other closing thoughts, Anthony? This is a fun one, man.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a good topic. I'm looking forward to thinking about this more in like a fantasy perspective going forward, because like dynasty drafts are starting to fire up. Although I think you're a psychopath if you're drafting this early. These guys tear their ACLs 5 seconds before like kickoff. Like,
dude, I'm one of them.
Yeah. Like this is not a good time. We wait till I personally like to wait a lot closer to the season, at least until preseason's over. Especially because like we have that awkward week like after preseason's over. 10 days, 12 days before we get like first kickoff on like the Thursday night game, and then another bunch of days before we get the eventual Sunday kickoff. So like you got plenty of time to do your drafts later. Like you do not need to be doing them now.
I mean, shoot, Nate Burleson broke his arm picking up pizza from a delivery guy. He like tripped down the stairs and he got placed on IR. So you just never know what could happen, right? I mean, there's risk every day in your life, but I'm with you on that because so many things can happen. I mean, non-contact injuries have been one of the the biggest forms of injury in the NFL as of late. So I hear you, and I'm still going to be a psychopath and do the drafts early, but it's not my doing. I am not the commissioner of these leagues. I'm just partaking. So, but I'm with you. But I think next week, maybe we talk about that. We can talk about
I think it's a good idea. Let's do that.
Okay. I love it. That sounds good to me.
That's all I got for closing thoughts. How about you?
That's probably about it for me. No, I was just going to say I appreciate everyone out there in the chat. It was a fun show tonight. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We do this every week on Tuesday nights. Now moving to 7:30, though. We got to change up that banner below. It says 8 p.m. 7:30 just seems to be a little bit better. Keith can actually stay for a majority of the show, which is good. So, yes, next week, 7:30. Don't miss us. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, like I said. Rewatch. Let us know what you think, good or bad. Love to hear from you. But nonetheless, you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to sign off by saying go Bills. Anthony?
Take flight.
And Fins up, and I don't know, Pats Nation. I don't even know if that's what Chris says. Whatever he says. We'll have Chris back next week, hopefully, officially. I know Chris had a drop off, but
not on dial-up internet.
Yes. All right, guys. Take care. Have a great night. Go Bills.